shoes and food.
Mom and Dad had a rule. Whatever we started, no matter what it was, we had to finish.
Right.
Now, if you started playing basketball and you didn't like it, you still had to finish the whole season out.
That's
you
right.
Couldn't quit. There was various things. Is there anything you can remember that you had to kind of...
No. Because I can't, I mean, literally, whether it was an instrument, whether it was a sport, you had to at least try it.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? You had to stick with it. So
just for a season.
Yeah, for a season. I mean,
decide.
so it was like you couldn't just pick it up and be like, nah, I'm done. Or you couldn't try for the team, make the team, be like, oh, man, I'm mad at the coach. I don't want to do it. No.
Bro, I can't even relate to that. We had friends that literally would quit everything that they started.
Yeah.
They would just get offended, get mad. And I don't blame them now because when I look back at their situation, a lot of them did not have a parental figure that was a disciplinary or pushed them. But at the time, I used to be mad at mom and dad like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. And they're like, well, you're going to finish the season out.
Yeah.
When they did that, initially it felt like they were being hard on us. But the truth is they were teaching us.
Conditioning us. Yep.
Stick to it.
That's right.
You can't be a quitter. You can't give up, which ultimately speaks to our ability to endure.
Yeah.
I'm concerned because I look at a lot of the young people that we pastor, those that we lead in the community, and they just do not have a desire to stick to anything.
No, not at all.
Even with the gym, so many people will come in, talk to you, and be like, yo, man, I'm ready to get that body for the summer. And
That's right. Yep. I mean, they're excited initially because, you know, they have all these aspirations as to where they want to go with it. But when they see the work and the dedication and the time that it takes to actually get those results, they fall off because it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be in shape.
Everybody would do it.
You don't see very many people that are in shape or strong because they're in a very small percentile because there's just nobody that wants to do it. There's nobody who wants to take the time to make it happen.
But the reality of it is there's so many benefits.
Yeah.
It's so profitable. If you put in the work, the results are going to be so addictive. But it requires us to refuse to quit.
That's right.
One of the most famous passages of Scripture is when the Apostle Paul says in the book of Galatians, be not weary in well-doing, for in due season you will reap if you faint not. Literally just simply means keep doing the right thing.
Yes.
And don't get tired of it because after a while, you're going to see the results of it.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm saying to you, don't get tired of doing the right thing, that means there's a possibility you could get tired of doing the right thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're going to get weary along the way, but it's whether you have the ability, the strength, and the mind to stick with it and do it. I mean, that's the reason why you see people who they stay at a certain level, and then you see people who go to a pro level or beyond. A pro athlete, their mentality is completely different than the average person.
Absolutely.
They literally sleep, drink, and eat what they're doing. It is a passion. I think about Kobe Bryant and how passionate he was about basketball.
Bro.
And how he used to break down the game of basketball. And he was not my favorite player, but as far as an athlete, I admired him and how he studied the game and how he was just so exact about everything.
Mamba mentality.
Yeah, and he wasn't afraid to ask other players for advice either on different ways.
He was humble
in
that way.
Super
People
humble.
would say that Kobe was arrogant, but the truth was he was a student of the game, so he had to learn it. His obsession, it consumed him to the degree that he made it up in his mind, I'm going to be the best at this, and I refuse to quit until I become the best. He started off his career, though, shooting 2 air balls in a playoff game, and everybody was like, oh, he's not ready. And they said once the team landed back at home, he went straight to the gym and started shooting, and he said my arms were too weak. I had to start working out. From that point forward, man, Kobe is now known as literally one of the greatest.
The greatest of all time. That's right.
I was really frustrated the other day because people hate LeBron James.
Yeah, they do.
They hate this man.
They do.
So somebody was like, LeBron is trash. How you going to lose that last game? He scored 40 points, had 10 assists and 9 rebounds in his 20th year.
He's 38
years old.
38 years old.
And because other players were not able to come up to par, or here's the reality, Denver was just a better team.
That's right.
But LeBron did his thing, and I'm looking going, people are like, he's trash. They don't understand how much work you have to put in at that age.
They have no idea. I mean, he's been doing that since what?
18 years old.
He's 18 years old. He came into the league when, you got to think about where you were when you were 18, 19. I mean, you started preaching when you were 19. But your mentality and how you were is completely different than now.
Oh, man.
Your maturity level, everything. So to expect someone to come in and just build a,
carry a franchise?
Carry a franchise, man. Like, it's crazy. Like,
you can never make me believe that he didn't feel like quitting and giving up at some point from the standpoint of the criticism, the hatred. People that, when he left Cleveland the first time, burning his jersey. I hate you, sending him death threats to his family. but he stayed with it. So regardless, I have the greatest respect for LeBron because he's been scandal free.
Yeah.
He's a guy who just refused to quit. I love Muhammad Ali, man. He's by far one of my favorite athletes of all time.
Yeah.
I was just at the Black History Museum. They have a whole thing that they tribute to him, and it's just, it's amazing. But the one thing that I thought was awesome, he said when he would train, he would run until his mouth felt like it was gravel in it. He said his heart would be beating so hard, he felt like he was going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
And right when he got to the point he was about to pass out, he said, I'm just getting started. Because he knew if I can push my body beyond the norm, my opponent is not going to be
never going to be
this.
there. Yeah.
And that's how he ended up beating George Foreman. And the time when he beat Joe Frazier, he outlasted him because he had a mindset, I'm not going to quit. What Muhammad Ali dealt with was completely different because he was dealing with racism.
Political things. And I mean, they crucified him for changing his name. Like, I mean, it was so much. So many distractions outside of the ring. And then to be an athlete at that level and still maintain. Yeah. That's why I respect him. Like you said with LeBron, man, LeBron is one of the greatest, period. Yeah. No matter what, you can't take that from him. So, I mean, that's just where it is, man. When you get to a certain level, man, it's just, you're especially for those guys, because they're constantly under scrutiny.
Always.
You know what I'm saying? Because
from people who never played a sport.
Never played a sport. Never played. And I have issues with, you know what I'm saying, a lot of these sports people that never been on a court themselves who are constantly analyzing these guys. Like, you've never done that. No. You don't know what that's like. You don't know what it's like to be at the line knowing that you got to make this shot or it's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? For your team.
And you got a whole city that's
it ain't
on
just,
your back, or a whole franchise.
Just,
you know, people from all over the world. I always thought it was weird when people would say things like, man, I hate Kobe Bryant. Yeah. And I would say, have you ever met Kobe Bryant?
You don't know him.
And here's the reality. I'm just going to throw this in there for all of y'all that be lying. If you would have, for all of you, I hate LeBron. If LeBron James walked up to you right now, you'd be like, what's up, LeBron, man?
That's right.
Sign my autograph.
You'd be fanboying like everybody else. Yeah.
But just, man, when you look at those who have had great success in life, look at mom and dad. Look at all that they've accomplished.
Yes.
And all the hard times they've gone through. They just refuse to give up. Yeah. And because of that, it put us in a different position. Now for our children, our nieces, our nephews, we have to make sure that we don't give up.
That's right.
And I believe that the enemy's job is to get people to a point where they just say, man, I can't do it anymore. And they give up on their dreams. They give up on the vision that God placed in their heart.
That's right.
Man, when you first told me you wanted to open a physical fitness facility, that was years ago.
Yeah, many years ago.
Many years ago. It wasn't like you said it and then the next day we had a physical fitness facility.
Yeah, no, I mean, and in all honesty, I mean, back then I was like at Walmart looking for, you know, different ways that I could put together equipment in the budget that we had at the time.
Yeah.
And God was like, nah, that's not what I have for you. We got something way better for you. So that as well is waiting for the right moment and right time to do what you need to do, and listening to God and moving on that. But yeah, man, God is the greatest, man.
Feeling like God is not with you because he's got you waiting.
Yeah.
Is one of the reasons why a lot of people will miss God's best. Because of what you just said. We think too small.
Yeah.
So we feel like, man, God, why is it taking so long? He's saying it's really because you're not thinking big enough.
That's right.
And if I give you what you think you want, you'll minimize what I really have in store for you.
Man, that's good. Yep.
That's something that I've just learned, that oftentimes we believe that God is limited to our minimized thinking. Yeah. So I love what Apostle Hilliard said, God can afford your dreams. He can afford your dreams. So those of you that are out there that are watching right now that are like, man, I feel like giving up. You can't give up, because the reality of it is, if you give up, what do you do then? You're going to have to start over at something. Yeah. So I get why mom and dad used to be hard on us. Like, whatever you start, you're going to finish what you started. And then you can do something different if you don't want to continue doing that. But you're not about to quit. When I was running track, man, in elementary school, I used to love running track, but I didn't like to practice. That just wasn't my thing. And I remember I was amazing at the 100-yard dash. I did well at the 200-yard dash, but the 100-yard dash, long jump, and the 4x1 relay, that was my area. I was good, right? But one time, man, the coach was like, all right, y'all, we're going to introduce you all to the 800. And I'm like, what? I think I had to run around the track
twice, 2 times.
So we didn't understand the 800. So all the black kids, we was all super fast. We had some killers on our squad. We was fast, bro. Yeah. And I remember we all got on the line. There was this little white kid. His name was Sean. Yeah. Sean was short, freckles, glasses. He really wasn't fast. We used to smoke him. Like, if he ran in the 100, he came in last every time. So the coach was like, all right. She was going, pow. We've never ran the marathon before.
Y'all just cut out.
Mill, we all cut out full speed.
Racehorse, yeah.
First 100 yards, we gone.
Yeah.
Around that 200-yard, 300-yard mark.
Them cramps in that heart start kicking in.
And slowly but surely, you see all of us. We walking, but
little man crept up on you. Yeah.
Sean was running slow out the gate.
Yeah.
And he kept a steady
pace. Yep.
And next thing you know, man, he's passing one person after another, man. One person after another. And Sean ended up being really good at running the marathon because he understood it's not about how fast I start.
Yeah.
I got to keep a steady pace if I'm going to get to that finish line. But here's what's so funny, man. Sean got so good that he was winning every time we ran. Every time we ran, he won the marathon. Every time. Yeah. He started getting a little cocky. Sean started getting a little cocky. And at the city meet or with the championship, Sean would always get around right around the last 100 meters. He would start throwing his hand up doing this.
Start cheering.
Man, it was this black kid from Africa. And you know, hey, listen, that's what they specialize in is distance running.
Long distance running.
And they had a little strategy where they would keep a slow pace, but right at the last run,
kick that
boy in.
Kick that
Sean
boy in.
He threw them hands up. All I remember was here. Yeah.
He was gone.
Boy, that dude smoked Sean. He looked up. Sean, man, we was screaming at him like, Sean,
you gotta go.
He just,
oh my
God. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Like the road runner, man. But no, seriously, dude, that is a real thing that you have to understand that sometimes it's not going to be a sprint.
No, not at all.
It's a slow and it's a steady race. Like when you was starting to really get into hip hop, get into working out, like what was the point where you realized like I got to keep getting better at this if I'm really going to get to that next level?
I mean, for hip hop, it was, I mean, a lot of people don't know, but I mean, hip hop was my life.
Yeah.
Like I went to New York to pursue rap. I had a couple record deals that fell through or whatever, but I did movies, I did modeling and all that, but I literally honed my craft. Like I was writing every single day. I have books and books and books of unreleased rap and hip hop. But every day I was writing, every day I was performing. I performed in front of the mirror by myself. I would do all these different things.
Yeah.
Once you get to the, once you get to the industry and you figure out that it's not about your talent level at all, it's very disheartening, but I was always working on my craft. I was always ready. So we would go to shows. There were shows that I did, impromptu shows where other rappers weren't ready and they called me up. I did a show with Drez from Black Sheep one time because no one else was ready and I was ready. And I got up on stage and did my thing and they let me do my thing, but I was always ready at the drop of a dime, man. Like, that's just what it was.
But they say, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready.
Stay ready so you ain't got to be ready.
And it's always been that way for me because I know for a fact, dude, I remember one of the first big opportunities I had was at a huge youth conference, right? It's probably about 2,000 kids there.
Yeah.
I went to support it.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the card. And this is back when I was like 24. I wasn't on the card. And the speaker that they had was supposed to speak 2 days in a row. And I'm going to be honest with you, she tanked the first day. So the conference host came to me and said, look, tomorrow night, I want you to speak. I'm like, yo, but I was ready. Yeah. I was ready. I had my sermons prepared. Like, I didn't come there to do it, but I always had something prepared.
Just in case.
Got up, man. God bless. It was incredible. And a lot of other doors opened up because of it. Because I just refused to quit, man. When the opportunities weren't there, I kept, like you said, working on the craft. When it didn't seem like anybody was noticing me, I kept doing it. I believe that so many people were right there.
Yeah.
And they quit.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't, it's not worth it. I quit. And I'm like, yo, no. You was right there. Man. Sam Jackson didn't get into acting like on a high level until he was in his 40s or something like that.
No, he was in his 40s.
Perfect example. There was an actress, I think her name was Dorothy Steele, who was in the movie Black Panther.
Black Panther, yes.
She played the older lady that was on the council. Yep. They said she started acting when she was like 88, 89. That was like her first major role. But watch this. I know at some point she probably was discouraged. Like, this ain't never going to happen.
Yeah.
I know she passed, but before she passed, think about it. She was a part of one of the most legendary movies. No one will ever forget her because of the role that she played.
No, she cemented in history for that part.
Just because she decided, I'm going to keep.
That's right.
Dude, I'm trying to tell you, bro, I believe with all of my heart that if we get in our feelings and we allow ourselves to look at the conditions around us, and you allow your feelings to determine how you perceive the situation as a whole, you're going to give up.
Yeah.
You're going to give up. But there has to come a point where you stop looking at what's happening around you and you believe what's within you and say, you know what? I'm not going to quit.
Yeah.
I'm working out and I'm not seeing the results, but you can vouch for it. Something is happening every time you work on yourself. It's going to change over time. And when you finally begin to see the results, when you finally begin to see the difference, there's an addiction that comes to that to say, you know what? I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting. I feel like we have to start to tell our young people. We got to tell those that feel like they're over the hill. There's always still something that you can accomplish. And you have to remain humble and you have to remain focused in order to get to that point.
That's right. Some of the greatest steps to success are unseen.
Man.
So if you always have to be seen, you're going to have a problem being successful because there's going to be times when there's not going to be anybody there.
Yeah.
There's not going to be anybody there to push you. There's not going to be anybody there to tell you, you got to get up and work out. You got to get up and shoot that ball. You got to get up and practice. You got to get up and write.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell you that. And so if you want success, a lot of your process will be there will be no notoriety for your process.
Zero. And you have to be willing to look beyond that and say, I don't have a cheering section right now.
That's right.
But if I keep going, I'm going to have that cheering section. And my thing is this. I've seen what God can do.
Yes.
I've seen the success that comes after you remain strong. I've watched God bless you. I've watched God increase us.
Yes.
When you get there, you'll be able to say, as my brother Jathan Austin says, it was worth it.
Yes.
It was worth it. But I'm going to tell you this. Stay humble because you don't want to be like Sean and be like, shoes and food.
What's going on, y'all? I kept it simple today. I got on my confetti Air Ones and shoes and foods. Y'all know what it is. Peace.
Shoes and food.